Hi, I'm Dan Lakin and welcome to another episode of Around the World in 80 Drinks. We've got an awesome guest for you tonight. It's Brent Perremore in South Africa. We recorded it early on this week. He is the most accoladed bartender by far, I think, that we've ever had on this show. Multi-award winning himself, and his bars win awards as well. So really looking forward to playing that videotape in a minute. We're going to be making the French 75, but before we crack on, I just want to remind you guys that we're sending out these stickers, Around the World in 80 Drink stickers, absolutely free of charge anywhere in the world. Also, if you put it in an awesome place, take a picture of it and share it on social, you'll enter yourself into a competition to win a free masterclass with me, Dan Lakin, and I'll send you a bottle of spirits. Like I say, anywhere in the world, completely free of charge. I'll put the links to my Instagram on this. There's more information about the competition on there. But yeah, let's fire away. Let's make some drinks. So we're making the French 75 today. Champagne cocktail. So we're going to need a champagne flute. I say champagne cocktail, but I'm going to be using a prosecco. So yeah, no actual champagne in this. I'm going to use sugar. I'm not going to use a sugar syrup. So basically, when you're making a champagne cocktail, it's half the amount of the general rule of what I usually go on about, i.e. the 50ml of liquor or spirits, the 25ml of sour, the 12.5ml of sweet. Basically, all of that gets halved. So when you're talking about champagne drinks or prosecco drinks, and there is a sweet and sour in there, and there's spirits in there, all of that is halved. So I'm putting 1 bar spoon or 1 teaspoon of my sweet in. I'm putting half the amount I would usually of sour in, so that's 12.5ml now. And I'm going to put 25ml of gin in. So it's gin in this drink, 25ml. It's sour, which is lemon. I'm using 12.5ml. And it's sugar, which is 6.25ml or 1 bar spoon. So that's the general rule. If you're making a champagne cocktail, half the amount of the ingredients that you would use in a normal cocktail. So to balance out your sweet and sour, you're using half the amount. So not 25ml that would usually be in a sweet and sour recipe. Using 12.5ml and then just 1 bar spoon of sugar. Right, okay, so this drink, French 75, first recorded about 1922 edition of Harry's ABC of Mixing Cocktails. He is an absolute legend on the industry, was back then. Harry McKello is a great, absolutely fantastic bartender, renowned throughout this industry, absolutely. I'm just going to stick some ice in this, I'm going to shake it. In the same year, it was published in Robert Vermeere's Cocktails, How to Mix Them, which credits the drink to Harry. Both recipes differed slightly. In fact, Harry's recipe differs to what I've just done now. His version consisted of Calvados, gin, grenadine and absinthe, so quite different. It was the other version that added the lemon, but as cocktails evolve over time and they get credited to the original bartender, that's where the story comes from and that's where the provenance comes from. So I'm going to give this a good hard shake, try and get that sugar dissolved. So the recipe now took its classic form, the French 75, much later on. Essentially, it's the Savoy that really got this drink into the mainstream, the Savoy cocktail book. That was published in 1930. It was called the French 75. Originally, it was just called the 75, and that really helped popularise the drink. So you pour that mixture into the bottom of your flute. Now it's nice and cold. I've just got dinky bottles of Prosecco and top it with your Prosecco. I failed to get any garnish for this. In fact, I'm going to top it a bit more. I failed to get any garnish for this drink. Basically what I would do is a lemon garnish. So if you zest it, cut a nice little piece off, twizzle it around your bar spoon, make a nice little spiral, hang it on the side. We'll just take a bit of the rind off, make a little incision in it, hang that on the side. It'll add aesthetics to the drink. It'll add a bit of a nice smell to it, a little bit of flavour as you zest it over the drink. You basically want to complement what's already in there. But there we go. That is the French 75 as we know it today. Cheers. If you drink champagne cocktails all night, you'll know about it the next day, I can guarantee you that. Right, okay. So next up, we've got Brent, absolutely awesome bartender. I loved chatting to him, all the way down in South Africa. There's only 2 hours time difference, but he's actually got a bar that's open. So we have to do it a certain day and a certain time to allow for his diary. As all of you guys know, I'm doing nothing at home. We're still in lockdown. So yeah, let's roll VT. Let's see what Brent's got to say. Cheers. Brent, thanks a lot for joining us on Around the World in 80 Drinks. How are you doing down in South Africa?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm really cool. Yeah, things are starting to heat up slowly but surely. We're coming into summer. Well, we pretty much are in summer right now. COVID's been pretty hard on us, coming out of winter and everybody being in lockdown. But I'm sure you guys in the UK are quite familiar with the cold. South Africans don't take to it too well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think most people know watching this show, usually I chat to guests before I have them on, before we start recording. We were introduced by Wes, who I know very well from back in the UK. He now lives down there near you, so that's how we've got this introduction. So just tell us a bit about yourself. What's your background, and tell us about your bar.
Sure. Well, I've got quite a long background in the bar industry. You could say I kind of started off when I was 16, which is highly illegal. But anyway, I did what I had to do to earn money at a young age, and ended up working as a bartender in illegal casinos as well. So there were underground casinos with all sorts of dodgy gangsters and triads and you name it. It was quite a sordid affair. But anyway, so once the bars were shut down, the cops cracked down on the illegal bars, I left for the UK, and I lived there for 5 years, and just worked in the members bars, in Soho, Tottenham Court Road, Notting Hill, Leicester Square. And on my return, I worked with some really good bartenders. One of my mentors, a guy called I forgot his name. I shouldn't forget my mentor's name. Jacques Ferry. He was actually a Swiss trained chef, and he was a bar manager at the Met Bar in London. And nice. I learned a lot from him. And I've worked at some of the top places like Eclipse in Cape Town. Did a lot of consulting work. Won world class. I was the first South African to win world class in 2012. Oh, wow. I was the first South African to win it twice in 2014.
Oh my gosh.
I've pretty much placed second virtually every year. I've entered, but just fallen short. I'm going for my third.
My gosh.
So then I've competed in Sweden for the Absolute Invites. I placed second globally, but won best cocktail of the comp. And then also one of my another anecdote is that I worked with Sasha Petrasky for a short stint at Milk and Honey in Soho.
Amazing.
And it was quite ironic. We were used to slinging Long Islands and Sex on the Beach and really like fast cocktails. And nice. I was used to the whole Roadhouse flair type scene. I worked with Nicolas St. John in Soho as well. I was the bar manager at the bar that we worked at. And so that's how I got introduced to the whole flair thing. And that was sort of my thing back then. Everything was flash, bash, crash and sex, drugs, and rock and roll kind of vibe. And
nice.
I worked with Sasha in the members bar, and it was a whole prohibition style. He was obviously famous for, reviving the whole prohibition style of bartending. He was very unapologetic in the outfits that he wore. It was a little bit quirky, and I thought, no, this place will never last. I told him, that's it for me, I'm afraid. This place will never last. I think a year later, they won Best Cocktail Bar in the world.
Wow.
50 Best. And, I was pretty bummed. Well, not bummed, but happy for him. But it's quite ironic how the wheels turned, and I arrived creating South Africa's best speakeasy, and a nod to the 1920s prohibition style.
Yeah, so I had a quick look at that on Instagram, and it looks absolutely awesome. So tell us about your bar then.
Yeah, so we're 2 years old. We recently turned 2 years old. it's kind of tricky. You know, we want to stay true and authentic to the whole speakeasy theme. We don't have a website. We have a little bit of Facebook. We have Instagram, but that's about it. And we have word of mouth. And on arrival, we make sure and we tell people not to give away their location. It's not a problem to bring someone here, so they have the whole experience of being wowed and and being taken down the rabbit hole, so to speak. And then
nice.
Everything opens up to this 1920s prohibition bar in the backyard, and a lot of locals don't even know that we exist, and they're super surprised when they come here and they're like, "How long you guys been open for?" And I said, like 2 years, and they're gobsmacked. So
does that mean that does that mean during lockdown you can do whatever you want if the council and the government can't find you?
Well, we try to stay within the law, but we actually have a police station very close by, which so we're pretty much working underneath the noses of the cops.
Okay.
So we did do one gig, but we try to stay within the parameters of the law at the moment. Still.
Okay.
Well, as far as they know, so.
So I think inadvertently I've stumbled across here one of the most accoladed bartenders I've had on Around the World in 80 Drinks. So well done for that.
Oh wow, thank you.
So yeah, show us what you can do then. Show us your drink that you're going to be making for us.
Well, it's going to be a super simple drink with South African ingredients. We're not. See, a lot of bars around Cape Town, they're doing South African style drinks, and it's great for the tourists. They like South African experience, but we're trying to give them a unique experience in the sense that we're trying to recreate old school traditional cocktails with old school techniques and the whole 1920 genre, bartending. So we don't really we're not really a pro South African bar, although we do love our locals, but our locals like to be transported to another era, so we dress in period outfits and hats and top hats and black and white brogue shoes and that type of thing. So
nice.
Today I'm just going to make like I said, something with South African ingredients and a nod back to my time in the UK. I'm sure a lot of your viewers are familiar with a lady called Ada Coleman from the American bar at the Savoy. And she was famed for making a cocktail called the Hanky Panky. So I was thinking of calling it the Manky Panky. But yeah. So anyway, I'm just going to start off. I've kind of chilled my Nick and Nora glass. Keep it nice and classy. And this mixing glass I've got, so basically everything that we've designed around the bar, the whole aesthetics was based around this apothecary style units that you guys are resting on right now. It's a vintage piece, which we have vintage cocktail shakers on display. And then our back unit, which was reclaimed from an old chemist or old apothecary style. So, and a lot of these units came with really old equipment, like this mixing glass, for example. This is beaker. This is he's correcting me, calling this a beaker. I call it a mixing glass. I think this was used for in the chemist, and it's got old etchings. I don't know if you can see that on here. Yeah, all these old pieces. I don't know, it's probably 60, 70 years old, maybe even older. Test tubes, etc., all sorts of equipment. So this is pretty much where we stir our cocktails in. So I'm going to use Copeland gin for the gin aspect. So Copeland gin, it's a beautiful tiki style gin. It's made by quite a famous trance DJ in Cape Town. His name is James Copeland. He travels around the world playing trance music. Oh, wow. And I really love this. It's sort of fresh. There's pineapple notes, tonka bean, and yeah, it's just pretty out there, which I love. And then we have Capra Teeth, which is also used at the Savoy. used in Savoy's cocktail book, some revived cocktail recipes. And this was actually a long lost recipe that was brought back by a famous winemaker called Adi Badenhorst. He's in the Swartland in the Western Cape. So this is our local vermouth. And then instead of the Fernet, I'll be using our own bitters from Wilderer. So giving that a good stir. So what I learned while working with Sasha was, spirit forward drinks back then were pretty much unheard of to me. Like I said, everything was supposed to be sweet and layered and multicolored. So he basically instilled this new old style of bartending to me.
Nice. Nice.
Then I'm just going to zest it with a little bit of orange. And there
Cheers.
You go. Thank you.
That looks absolutely delicious. I would love to be drinking that right now. So I love all the links back to...
Is that right, Dan?
Sorry, say it again.
Can I have a sip for you?
Oh, I'll do it, yeah, please.
Oh, cheers,
So I love all the links back to the Savoy. We had Declan McGurk, the bars manager of Savoy, on one of the first episodes of this. So I'll be tagging him in this.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, he actually signed my book.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was very happy. I went to visit Savoy when I was in the Beefeater comp, and I got to meet him. Very, very proud.
Perfect. So tell us a bit about how COVID's affected your bar down there, and what's going on at the moment.
COVID obviously hit us hard. We were closed for many months, and then when we reopened, they put our curfew up to 8:00. So we only operate at night from 6 p.m. So it wasn't really going to happen, working till 8:00. So we remained shut, and then we ended up protesting. We formed a group called Serve Us Please.
Okay.
Basically, it was a call to arms to all bartenders around the country, and to protest outside of Parliament. We were all peaceful. We had ribbons, staying 1.5 meters apart. We had our masks. We had hand sanitizer, and we were met by force by the police. A lot of people were illegally arrested.
Oh, wow.
Tear gas, water cannons,
Oh,
stun grenades, you name it. So, yeah, we went through the wars, but we got a lot of good. Obviously the negative force that the cops showed against us actually gave us a lot of traction on media.
Yeah.
We were seen as far as we were featured in the New York Times as well.
Oh, wow.
And we did a few little guerrilla campaigns. We didn't want people to be injured, in more sort of issues like that. So we went on these little guerrilla campaigns of smaller groups doing little pop-up protests around the city. So we did one called, we have something in Cape Town called First Thursdays, which is the busiest month of, you could say, in the bars. That's where they generate a lot of money, and it generally happens on one of the main streets in Cape Town called Bree Street. So we did sort of a mock funeral of First Thursdays called Dead Thursdays, and we carried around a massive coffin down the street, and we did little eulogies at all the bars and restaurants that didn't make it through COVID. and
Right.
ones that were like sort of struggling. So those kind of things popped up, and yeah, we made it to the cover of the Weekend Argus, which is one of our main newspapers in South Africa. And yeah, so little things like that. So eventually, I think about 2 weeks later, they overturned the ban, and well, not the ban, but they lifted the curfew till 10.
Yeah.
So we were able to operate and earn a little bit of make a little bit of money. And then more recently, we were dropped down to level 1 of the lockdown. Now we're able to. The curfew is now 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. and we're allowed to operate. We call last rounds at 11. So, and although they've closed the borders, and we do rely on a lot of international clientele, our local clientele have come out in numbers to support us, which has been amazing. We didn't think we'd be seeing the numbers that we're seeing. We were actually seeing better numbers than we were pre-COVID, which is quite strange. Yeah, I think my belief that people can't travel, so they'll be spending their money that they would have spent abroad. Little mini holidays type of thing. So
yeah.
So otherwise, we're expecting to hear some news from the president on Wednesday as to whether we'll probably stay in level 1 of the lockdown still. Hopefully they'll just ease up on some of the restrictions. The restrictions that they imposed were pretty draconian. I mean, we weren't allowed to buy alcohol. We weren't allowed to buy cigarettes. All of these were outlawed. They were searching cars. They were arresting people. You couldn't be out after. It was nuts.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, so people were really bootlegging. I mean, I'll put it out there. I was bootlegging myself. I was selling a lot of booze from home. People were desperate. They were paying 3 or 4 times the price for alcohol.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's
how COVID hit us.
It's absolutely insane. I think most of the world put limits on alcohol, whether it might be you have to serve food in your bar in order to be able to serve alcohol, or if your bar's closed, then you can do takeaway alcohol. And I haven't really heard of any other country, and I've chatted to a lot of countries now that's had a complete ban on alcohol.
Only one, I think.
Oh right, God.
And the whole cigarette, the cigarette debacle, that was something else. South Africa the health minister, right? Anyway, so basically, or crisis management. Yeah. She's got ties to some real dodgy gangster types who sell illegal cigarettes.
And her son owns wow.
And her son owns a cigarette company. So a lot of people are buying illegal cigarettes, which were the brands that were made by these guys. So,
right, so
I mean, South Africa is a unique place, and they'll outlaw like the stupidest things, but they'll let like corruption and that type of thing get swept under the rug. So
yeah,
crazy times we're living in.
It really is crazy times we're living in, and yeah, I mean, who knows where the end point is or what's going to happen ultimately? But it's great to hear. I think you're the first venue that I've spoken to that is trading to a relatively normal capacity up until midnight. So that is really good to hear.
Yeah. Well, not exactly till midnight, but I mean, we get people out of the doors by 11:30 because if we get caught out on the streets, well, staff anyway, we will, cops will query why you out beyond curfew. So.
Oh, I see. So everyone has to be in their homes by midnight.
Virtually, a lot of people don't. I mean, there are a lot of people still flaunting the law, but we do our best, to rush home as quickly as possible. That means breaking down the bar, cleaning, cashing up, making sure the place is spotless before you leave, all within about half an hour, sometimes even less. It's nuts. I don't know how we do it, but normally it would take like an hour and a half. We do in half the time now.
Okay, God, yeah, it really is crazy. But I mean, I could carry on talking to you for ages, and it would be great too. But we're hitting the 20-minute mark now, so I'm going to have to say thank you so much for taking time out of your day. Thanks a lot for joining us around the world in 80 drinks, ladies and gentlemen. It is Brent.
Thank you so much. Cheers.
Cheers.